What's up, guys? It's Scott from AceofAxeRC.com. We got the FTX Outlaw. We've unboxed it. We've done a running video, and now here's the review. All right, so we got the FTX Outlaw. Just got back from the UK Scalar Nationals with it. And to recap, this is the one from the Beginner's Guide to RC series, and that's where we take a sub 200 pound RC ready to run and put it to the test. So this one was the first series that we're doing. Ran it this weekend, and spoiler alert, it did really well. I was really impressed with it. Just going to go over a couple of things that we found that we liked, some things we didn't like, and just let you know about them. All right, so pros. For a beginner, this thing was 129 pounds, and it came with everything you needed except for the AA batteries, which my local hobby shop gave me those. Not sure if yours will or not, but it's 8 AA batteries is what you need for it. It came with the radio, all the electronics, ready to rock, the spare tire on the back that actually can be used on the truck if anything happens to one of the other 4. Don't think they would, but whatever. So we took it just like it was here. So 1800 milliamp nickel metal battery, so not a lot of power there, but we charged it up with the included charger. It took a while. It's one of the ones you plug into the wall, plug into the battery, and just leave it until the light changes. So it takes a while, but it's very manageable. If you want to run it, come back in, plug it in, go about doing something else, and then run it again. Or you can buy another nickel metal battery, or you can go to LiPo, which I suggest, and we'll talk about in a bit. But anyway, 1800 nickel metal battery, popped it in here, set off on the AceofAxe course, 100 gates. We had 4 of those 100 gate courses. So we started with the AceofAxe one. Done really good. Immediately, the first thing I noticed was they're not locked diffs. You got one tire spinning. If it catches on something, then the other one starts spinning. So I noticed that straight away as I was climbing over things. And this thing's set up more as an Ultra 4, so it's like a racer. So you want those open diffs for racers, but for crawling like I was doing, I really would have preferred locked diffs. And there's ways to do that, and we might get into that later, but we'll talk about this as it comes for now. So unlocked diffs front and rear. So one tire spinning for the front, one in the back. Had some issues getting over some of the stuff. We just kept the throttle on and got over most of it. The battery lasted until gate 40. So 1 through 40, the 1800 nickel metal battery lasted, and then it dumped pretty hard, pretty fast. So I had a LiPo with me. I put a 4200 milliamp LiPo in there and just plugged it straight in. Okay, I had an adapter, so I plugged it straight in and took off. What I should have done was change the speedo, the ESC, to LiPo, because that way it's got to cut off. Once it hits 6 volts, it won't let you run anymore. So took off, put a LiPo battery in there immediately. What a difference. Not only was it 4200 milliamp versus the 1800 milliamp that came with it, but it was a lot more power because it's LiPo. So straight away, it took off. I was like, oh yeah, here we go. Still unlocked diffs, obviously, but it pulled pretty well. Most things I could bump over just with power, just pop. A lot of things, if they weren't too slippery, I could crawl over. If they were slippery and then I had to start using the throttle, then obviously that's when that unlocked diff thing comes in and one tire spins, the other one doesn't, so it gets kind of annoying. But again, it's set up for the Ultra 4 style thing, so understandable. Went through most of the gates without issue. You can jump a couple things. You can check out the video that I did, the FTX Outlaw running video that we did on that trail. So that's all live on AceofAxe YouTube channel. But the only issue I had as I was going up a gate 100, which was almost impossible, and actually this back up a little bit. Gate 98, I tried to get over. I get the front tires on, but that unlocked diff, I just couldn't clear it. So after so many tries, and there was no one else around, I just sat it through. So I missed that gate. I wasn't able to complete that. If I would have had a winch or sand ladders or even like some small rocks, I could have got over it, but I just didn't have anything. And I wanted to get the truck through the course before I'd done any major damage. So I just set it through and moved on. Straight through 99, not a problem. Then 100, and again, I set this course, so I only have myself to blame. It was a really steep climb up like a root face and between rocks and stuff. It looked awesome. But with the unlocked diffs, it just wasn't happening. So luckily, there's a mate of mine that was up top, and he had a winch, so he winched me up the last gate. as he hooked the winch on, he's like, dude, your motor's smoking. I looked down, and sure enough, yeah, it's a 15-turn brush motor. It was smoking. It was just from me constantly hitting the power. So he winched me. As he's winching me up the hill, I'm hitting the throttle, and it kind of seems like it's starting to get stuck. So I really get on the throttle, and more smoke starts coming out. I'm like, well, I'm testing this thing out, so let's keep going. So we kept testing it out. He's pulling me up, and I just keep throttling. More smoke's coming out. And then we get to the top, unhook it, and took the cover off, the body off. And then the heat sink, you lick your finger and stick it on there, and it would sizzle. So it was definitely hot. So the motor got smoking hot, literally. So it still runs though. You let it cool down, and I don't know how much life it's got left in it because I did that to it, but it made it through there. So if you're going out and you're not doing a bunch of craziness like I was trying to do, then you should be all right. But if you start doing a lot of throttle and a lot of wear on the motor, especially dropping that nickel metal or the LiPo battery in there, then you might have the same issues with the motor. I talked to a mate of mine that had one of these trucks, and he had some issues with the motor as well. So that might be something you want to prepare for. So it's got a 15-turn FTX brand motor in it, so that you might want to upgrade that. You know, just a cheap crawler motor or something like that. I would put in there, and you do better with it. Or just run it, but run it like it is first until you need to swap something out. It's just so annoying. People go to the shop and like, I want this truck, but I want aluminum hubs and aluminum this and blah, 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 and all this other stuff and all these new electronics. Run the thing the way it is and wait until you need it. You know, I mean, some people say, yeah, oh, you're stranded on the trail with something broke, but at least you'll know, what you need. Because I've found myself doing that for years. I'll buy a truck and just get all these hop-ups. Now I'm doing this and realizing that a lot of the stuff that I paid for to hop up, I probably didn't need, because this thing done really well for a ready to run. Like I said, 129 pounds with everything, it done really good. The LiPo battery, you can get them for like 20 pounds as well, so you can upgrade that pretty easily. And the only other hop-ups I would probably go with is that motor. I would definitely change that out if I was going to use this thing repetitively. So the motor, the servo did all right. I didn't have a lot of issues with the servo, so I wouldn't be in a hurry to get rid of that. But I would definitely lock the diffs, front and rear, at least the rear. But there's a lot of videos on YouTube that you can look and see how to do that. I may do it to this one. If I do, I'll make a video of how I do it. I've locked them on drifters before. Not too bad. I just loaded them up with a bunch of hot glue, but we'll see what this one looks like once we get in there. But overall, there was 3 of us out there. I was driving. My buddy Pete was recording on my GoPro, and Andy was doing pictures for me. And we were all 3 pretty impressed with how well this thing did. It held up for the price point. It's like you just can't fault it. It done really well. And I'm trying to think of anything else that I would say were issues. The plastic drive shaft, I didn't have a lot of problem, but then again, that probably has a lot to do with it being open diffs. Why I didn't put a lot of bind on that, but yeah, they're plastic, but they held up. The shocks did awesome. The shocks are really good, and they're tunable, so you can adjust the spring tension on them and adjust the ride height with them. You can change the oils in it to different, heavier, thinner, whatever you want to do. And FTX does have a lot of hop-ups for this. I'm not sure if I would, like, the diffs are like my main complaint, not having locked diffs. But if you're racing Ultra 4, you probably wouldn't want them anyway. But for what I'm doing crawling, I'd like to have them. So many options on the back for shock mounting positions too, on the bottom and the top. But yeah, if you go online, just type in FTX Outlaw parts, you can find a lot. Or to contact your local hobby shop where you're buying it from. Tell them you're looking to upgrade it, after you try it. But tell them you're looking to upgrade it and tell them what you're looking for. They should be able to help you out. This thing's still like completely muddy. Oh, the tires. The tires seemed a bit hard at first, but they started breaking in as you went, as they mostly do. But yeah, tires weren't bad at all, actually. I thought they were pretty good. And it looks really cool too. I got a lot of people looking at it. I was like, what is that? And I said, it's an Outlaw. Because, in the world of today with the expensive like Bombers and Yetis and the Rock Ray and stuff like that, and this is 129 pounds. A lot of people don't know about it because they're looking up here. Well, look down here. This thing's pretty awesome for the price. So I would highly suggest it if it's for a first RC car or just for an extra one or something like that. I wouldn't say that it was like ready to race pro races, but it's definitely for a first car, second car, something like that. It's phenomenal. 129 pounds, everything's in there. You can upgrade stuff as you need it. One of the first things I would probably get is get rid of those Tamiya connectors on there because they don't go well with a LiPo battery. So when you get a LiPo battery, swap them over to Dean's or something like that. And then make sure you set the Speedo, the ESC to Dean's or to LiPo. And then you're sorted. This thing done really well. Like I said, you can see the video of the running video. I think I boiled it down to like 12 minutes, but it was like an hour and a half trail ride that it went through. So not bad. The motor smoked. Like I said, it still works though. I don't know for how long, but we'll find out, I guess. All right, so there you go, the FTX Outlaw. Gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with it, and I would highly suggest it to someone just getting into the hobby that wants to do the scaling thing or the rock racing thing or something like that. So definitely check it out, and then we'll see you on the trail. Later.